Pleased to meet you. This is Fixed and Folded, the knife review channel for the casual knife collector. I'm Cody. I'm having a hair day today, so I've got a cap on. As you can see, I have a bit of a 80s flock of seagulls hair going on over there. So on this day, I'm going to be reviewing the Sencut Sachse medium-size folding knife. So Sencut knives are made in China. Sencut is considered to be the budget line of Civivi, which is considered to be the budget line of WE knives, and I really consider Sencut knives to be just right on par with Civivi knives for quality, materials, and even a little bit lower price. So I've handled 4 Sencut knives. Different ones, owned them, and they've been incredible values. You're getting a lot for your money. So I'll go right into a size comparison so you get an idea of this. First of all, I have extra large size hands, and there's still some real estate on the back here. So this is the minimum size of EDC knife that I carry for sort of any casual situation in my pants pocket or whatever. So size comparison is to the popular mid-size knife Benchmade bug out. You can see they're the same dimensions in terms of length, handle and length. This is the black micarta handle option, which is smoothed. There's no sharp edges. Hand ergonomics are excellent. There is a bill on the pocket clip, on the deep carry pocket clip, but it's not a hot spot at all for me to grip. Can't feel it. You have steel liners that have been milled out to reduce weight, skeletonized or milled out. Fit and finish is excellent. This came perfectly centered from the box. This has 3 methods of deployment. You can use the flipper tab, the button lock, and the thumb stud, and all of the deployment methods work extremely well. There is a little bit of button stick on this to release it if you thumb flick it. I think that puts the most amount of pressure onto the system when you thumb flick it. If you're going to do like that, if you do a slow roll, then there's minimal button stick. Same with the flipper, minimal button stick, and if you deploy it with the button lock, there's minimal button stick. But when you're going to thumb flick it like this, then let's see if you can hear. Where's the speaker? And you hear that? That was the button sticking a little bit. Minor issue. It's just I'll try and do that without the blade hitting my table. And you hear that a little bit. It's just like a luxury feature of something to be perfectly smooth with no button stick. In terms of actual use, it doesn't affect deployment at all. It's just to have that initial detent that you got to push through is not luxurious. It's mainstream, or it's utilitarian, but not pleasurable to have to break through a little button lock. It's a minor deal. One of my Sencut Serene had no button stick to my memory, but the other couple of Sencuts that I have had did have some minor button stick under probably just the thumb flick deployment. Minor issue. The design of the handle for use, you get good purchase on here. It's not overly thin. I'd say this is medium to thick for a medium-sized knife. Benchmade bug outs are known to be really thin on purpose and lightweight. That's the idea, is to have the actual bare minimum knife that you can, for dimensions that you can still have a reasonable amount of grip and utility with. So this is going to be on the really light, really narrow side, but you can just see this is substantially wider. And the benefit of that is you do get a nice secure purchase on here. And the micarta has a bit of tactileness to it. It doesn't feel slippery. It's got like a medium grit for a micarta that's impressive. You can get some slippery micartas. Civivi has some slippery micarta handles sometimes. But this one, it's got a nice texture to it that your hand's not gonna slip off. And micarta is another benefit is, at least with this type of micarta, which I think is a linen or canvas micarta, probably a canvas micarta, when you get it wet, it grips even more. It has a nice grip to it. So if you're working out in the rain or in an emergency situation, cutting the tag off your shoebox, hand isn't going to slip off of here, even if it's wet. So blade shape, you have a high flat grind with a unsharpened swedge on the back, mostly for looks. Usually unsharpened swedges, if it carries all the way through like this towards the tip, is supposed to benefit reducing a bit of weight, but also to aid in piercing, as opposed to just having a completely flat, fully thick spine there. This is going to aid a little bit for piercing. This is almost Spyderco-esque in that it's quite a deep blade, which is going to excel in slicing. And you've got this spear point tip. It goes quite fine, and the actual spine here is pretty much a full taper. So the taper begins here, and it begins to taper down to a really fine point. And so you're going to get excellent piercing, excellent cutting. The blade steel on this is 9CR 18 MOV, which is a noticeable upgrade over 8CR 13, comparable to cold steel AUS 10A versus AUS 8. You get anywhere between 20 to 50% more edge retention with the 9CR than you do with the 8CR, and the price hasn't gone up at all. This is between $65 and $70 Canadian, depending on where you order it in Canada. Blades Canada has this for about $65, and House of Knives, you have it for $70, and with House of Knives, you can get it ordered to their location in a mall near you, and then you don't have to pay shipping charges, where Blades Canada is based in Vancouver, and I'm in Calgary, so in that case, I got to pay like 10 or 12 bucks for shipping. So you're still looking at between $75 to $85, including taxes and shipping. And I consider that to be a fair price for this. You've got a high polished satin finish on here. You can see the machine. There's not on my crappy phone, but you can see there's nice little machine lines going down. You can see it a little bit. You can see it a tiny bit on my phone there. It's just a nice visual finish. You have the little machine lines down here, the grind lines. Styling is subjective. It's not super duper plain, and it's not really over stylized either. It's just somewhere in the middle, kind of reminiscent of like a shark or a marine mammal, like a whale, or maybe like a bullet or a spear. So it has a bit of design, like a bit of style to it, but not sacrificing ergonomics or utility at all. So it's kind of like a prettier version of a Spyderco without the spider hole. You got thumb studs instead of the spider hole to use your thumb to open it. Just to give you another perspective on the size of this, again, with the bug out is a medium-sized knife, but if you want something that's going to fill your pocket up more, this is an extra large size knife. This is the CJRB Pyrite Large, which is I consider to be extra large. And then you see it's really a lot bigger than this, and still really comfortable with my hand, designed for extra large or double extra large or large hands. This is like also really pocket friendly, narrow, and really light. and this is about $70 Canadian too. So, which was this is AR RPM 9, which is a spray formed 9CR18 MOV. Another great deal from CGRB. Go back to this. So this is a really good knife. I don't think anyone's going to hate this design. I don't think, maybe some people will love it, but it's just supposed to be, I think it just suits the price point like very well. If not, could be charged a little more for this, maybe $80 or $90, maybe would $100 be? Yeah, $100 would be too much for this Canadian, but for about $80, this is you're at 90. This is good, but it's not that much. It's less. It's around 70, 75. Anyway, the flipper tab is designed really well. You've got some medium textured jimping and a rounded tab, so it doesn't dig into, it doesn't poke you at all. It's not sharp, but the jimping is, it's noticeable, and it's made for, is this more of a push button or a light switch? You can kind of do either. No, it's more for a light switch deployment where you're kind of pushing down or diagonally down. To push right in as a button or button switch is not really made for that. But the jimping aids in you giving you traction to open it this way, kind of like opening a Zippo lighter with that kind of has that sensation of the jimping with that wheel. The placement of the thumb studs for deployment is excellent. Reminds me of the Sencut Serene, but it goes a little bit over the cutting edge, just a little bit. So if you're gonna do full slices for tomatoes or something or whatever, and you're gonna use the very base of your blade, it's gonna get caught up on this. But there's still a lot of usable cutting edge here to go past that for doing full through slices. And then the trade-off of that it's a little bit in the cutting path is that you get really nice space between the frame and the thumb stud to access your thumb. And you can do it the three ways with the meat of your thumb there, and I just did the tip or the reverse under the nail flick. So that's just designed great for access to the thumb. The button is pretty much flush with the handle, and then you've got some relief area there to make it easier to access. So yeah, you're not gonna, in the pocket, this shouldn't deploy accidentally because the button is flush with the handle, but because you have that relief area, it's easy to deploy. So the design is well thought out, a bit stylish. My favorite Sencut is still the Serene. It's similar to this, but just a little bit newer and a little bit bigger, and still like a really great price, $68, $70, so like $5 more than this. But this is cool. The action is nice, it's satisfying, feels really good with this micarta. The weight is light to medium. I find the deployment feels nice and satisfying. It can be fidgety, even with that bit of button stick. It's not hard to overcome. And so what rate do I want to give this? I'll give this like a B+. I'm going to give this a grade of B+. So that concludes my review of the Sencut Sachse, and hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you again soon.